go!
And there's nothing else I can say to that, but damn!
This is Rasslin Rage. Do it now. This is Rasslin Rage. Scream it out loud. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads the brigade. Let's go down. This is Rasslin Rage. Do it now. This is Rasslin Rage. Scream it out loud. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads the brigade.
Hello. Ooh, hey, wow, we got all kinds of shit going on. I got shit jamming and stuff. Holy smokes. I didn't realize I had that stuff going on. Let me get rid of that. There we go. Woo. Technical difficulties. You got to love that sometimes. But hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of Beyond the Mitten, Voyage of the Victors, right here on the Rasslin Rage YouTube channel. My name, of course, is Cody Fleming. I even almost said my own name wrong. And I'm thrilled to be your host for tonight's incredible journey into the world of indie wrestling. Before we dive into tonight's exciting episode featuring the XICW Midwest Champion, MM3, let me take a quick moment to ask you to do me a favor. Go ahead, smash that thumbs up. Below, it's like down in one of these corners there of this video, and if you're just as pumped as I am, because it's going to be awesome. Also, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on any of the future episodes and wrestling content. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media channels to stay up to date with the latest news, interviews, and everything indie wrestling here in the state of Michigan. You can find us at Rasslin Rage on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all the same handle, so check that out. And while you're at it, give us a follow on our MIDub page, which is at MIDUBB, MIDub. Hell yeah, right? Michigan Independent Weekly. As for some, so you can get some fantastic wrestling coverage. We have an absolutely phenomenal show for you tonight with our guest MM3, who has been making waves in the ultra-violent deathmatch scene, or deathmatch scene at all, right? We're going to take a short break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, MM3 will be with us to dive deep into his journey, his influences, and thrills of the indie wrestling and deathmatch wrestling. So grab your snacks, get comfortable, and stay tuned for the man as we know as MM3. We will be right back.
It's time to talk about Michigan independent wrestling. Tune into the channel, check your internet connection. Cody, Danny, Josh, they're the best at breaking down the matches into each and every segment. Michigan independent wrestling. Tune into the channel, check your internet connection. Cody, Danny, Josh, they're the best at breaking down the matches into each and every segment.
All right, well, here we are. MM3, welcome to the show. Let's kick things off by going back to your roots a little bit. But before we do that, how the hell are you, brother?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing, Cody?
I'm doing a lot better than what I've have been. So there's that. But it's good to hear you're doing well. Dude, it's good to see you. And this is me talking real shit, man. It's good to see you're doing really well out here, and you're kicking some ass, taking some names, and doing your thing, brother.
Thank you, man.
You're very welcome. I remember, let's take these viewers back, way back in the day. It was way time ago, and you were way younger than you are now, and you still are a young cat. I don't give a fuck what anybody say. I remember sitting down with you before a Blue Water show, and man, there was a lot to talk about then. But dude, then, now, holy shit, right? Like,
yeah,
two different fucking MM3s, man. Total
For
different
sure.
MM3s. So the evolution is definitely there, and we're going to talk a lot about it right now. All right. So let's talk about your roots here in the state of Michigan. All right. You grew up in Michigan. There are many local talents here. Your family has a big to do with a lot of the history here in the state of Michigan. What inspired you, though, specifically to become a wrestler?
That's a really good question. To be honest, I always loved pro wrestling. I was going to shows since I could remember. Like my dad was a wrestler, and my grandpa was wrestling still when I was first born, and um, I was always like hooked. But like I had other interests, and my dad thought that I was gonna do like other things and not be a wrestler, and he told me that he didn't believe that I'd be like a pro wrestler. That like even more so just made me be like, yeah, no, for sure, this is what I'm definitely supposed to be doing. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be really good at it.
Awesome. So it was kind of like him saying, "No, you're not going to do this." That kind of drove you to do it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think that's hilarious, kind of. Can you share a defining moment from your early wrestling days here in Michigan that you knew this was the path for you? Like, was there that very moment?
Um, I I don't think that there was like necessarily a moment. Like I say this and I like mean this with everything in me. Like there are those that do this and there are those that are born to do this. And I think that I was just born to do this. Like there wasn't like a moment in my life that I could remember that I thought I'd be doing anything but like wrestling. Like I'd be doing other things, of course, because I'm just a man of many talents and I like to do a lot of things. But I always knew that I'd be wrestling ultimately.
All right, that's fair. I like that. What were some of the challenges you faced while trying to make a name for yourself in the Michigan indie wrestling scene? Because, I mean, there has to be some kind of like, I don't know, cloud that you got to be in because you're a third generation wrestler. There's not very often, I mean, you hear that there's third generation wrestlers, maybe a second, but there's very few and far between.
Yeah, there's only one in Michigan. That's me. Right
Right.
now. Right now, as we speak, I'm outside of the House of Truth where Caden Monroe is going to be the second third
Third
generation
generation.
wrestler
That's amazing.
in Michigan. Yeah. So, um, there was always like a kind of because of like who my dad is and because of who my grandfather is, there was always like this kind of like this pressure um that everybody implied that was on me, but there was like even more so a pressure that I put on myself just because I'm a perfectionist and all that is my art. And um I always say pressure makes diamonds, and like it's honestly been like my driving force more so than anything, just to keep improving and keep just taking it a step at a time and getting better and better and better. Just because I know that I'm going to be doing this forever or until I
Right.
can't anymore.
Follow up question on that I just kind of
Yeah.
thought about, considering that you are traveling nationally and you have traveled internationally previously. I know we talked about you doing work down in Mexico
Yeah.
years ago. um, Outside of the state of Michigan, does
hmm
that pressure of your last name go away?
Honestly, for the most part, kind of. Wrestling is a really small world. In a sense that like everybody knows who like my dad is and who like my grandfather is, but more so I feel like when I travel elsewhere, it's more so the pressure of um kind of like justifying these claims. Like I tell people I'm the most well-rounded wrestler in the world. I'm the best wrestler, professional wrestler in the world. And when I go elsewhere to prove that, it's not, I don't have like the home field advantage, as some people call it, or the fans already behind me because um, I don't know, like naysayers will have like any excuse to kind of discredit like what I do or how I do it, and it's just a little different elsewhere. It's just like, can he uphold to the things that he say? Is that true? Like, is the process true to what he says? And that's being one of the most well-rounded wrestlers in the world.
Absolutely, man. That's some good stuff. I like it. That was a great one. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about you traveling outside of the state of Michigan, because those of you that may not have caught some of the previous interviews that have done in this interview series, but that is primarily a lot of the focus of these interviews are people that have traveled outside the state and out of the country or what have you, here from Michigan, or maybe have influenced the scene of independent wrestling in the state of Michigan. And again, like I said, you've traveled both nationally and internationally. You started here in Michigan, but you didn't stay put. When you did get your first opportunity to wrestle outside of Michigan, how did that come about?
Oh man,
Hey.
I gotta like do some thinking. I've been wrestling for a long time now, man. Um, it was being in a car. Uh, uh, A Thousand Truth, Truth Martini always taught me that you'll learn the most in the car with other pro wrestlers on the way to shows. And when you're young and you're trying to make a name for yourself, you're not always like booked. You're not always the marquee guy on the show. So like sometimes you gotta grind a bit to get those opportunities. So um, I found myself in a car full of some super knowledgeable pro wrestlers and some people who still mentor me to this day. And they were on their way to a show, and I hopped in the car, and um, the promoter seen me rolling around before the show, and they had a spot. They put me on the show, and then I wrestled on the show, and then they continued to bring me down because they liked what I did during the show.
So you did the things that you were taught at the very beginning of your career. You showed up, helped out, and that's what got you booked in a show somewhere else.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, so the things that this is going to sound real condescending but the things that you were taught by some of the people that have been in the business for a long time,
Yeah.
was the way that it worked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So I just want to make sure we got that clarified for everybody. So, it wasn't just like, oh, hey, I'm Malcolm Monroe.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
Yeah, no, I did not get booked because of my dad. A lot of like my out of town bookings when I first started like wrestling out of Michigan, they didn't know about like my dad and stuff because like that was not something that like I led with or I talked about ever. So um they honestly more so just knew me from because a lot of times Truth Martini and Jimmy Jacobs, my trainers, sent me places when uh, companies needed good guys. They asked my trainers for guys, and they would send me, and sometimes like some of the other people that I trained with. And that's how I would also get some opportunities like out of state.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. For real. Um, is there a particular moment or match that you feel put you on the national map?
Um, it's weird because I feel like um pro wrestling in general like is a roller coaster, and like my career has been like a roller coaster. So there's been like plenty of times where I felt like I was in uh like on the national stage doing like really good work, and then there was times where like I wasn't doing anything, and then there was times I was back up there. So it's a hard to like define like a specific match, but I will say this. I feel like every artist is only as good as their last performance, and I feel like my last performance put me on the map to being on the national stage. Because if I didn't continue the work that I've been putting in, and the buzz would die off.
Are you speaking of your match with Matt Tremont, or what are you speaking of?
That is not. Oh, whoa! What was my last match? I wrestled Akira and Crazy King.
Okay.
In a triple threat for a horror slam. Um, after the Matt Tremont match, and I felt really good about that match. So
I don't know, and I'm not going to disagree with you, but I belong to a lot of internet groups, and as one should for what I do, and I heard a lot of talk, a lot of good talk after that match with Matt Tremont here in Detroit, and
100%.
and it wasn't just. I mean, I don't really give a shit what a lot of some of the people that are sitting in the big chairs say. Like the people. Don't take that the wrong way, because at the end of the day, for me, is it's what's the people that are paying for the ticket are saying, because they're going to pay the money to come watch you, which is going to help pay you. So if they're saying, dude, I really enjoyed that match, that says something.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think you're on top of something here.
Yeah, I will say that was kind of like my stamp on like my deathmatch passport, saying that like I can hang with literally the best deathmatch wrestler in the world. But I'll take it back even like a step further than that, because like what got me like national buzz to even be able to earn my spot to get that match was my match with Neil Diamond Cutter in the pit at Deathmatch Circus for ICW No Holds Barred. That match that me and Neil put on got me more opportunities with ICW, and that kind of got me more in the eyes of like the deathmatch community, like more in that realm.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good stuff, man. It really is, because it's like, Matt Tremont, from my understanding, is the most decorated deathmatch wrestler in history.
He's the most decorated American deathmatch wrestler ever.
Right. So, he comes here, you put on a match with him, and in fucking A, man. Good stuff. So
Thank you, man. Thank
you're
you.
welcome. It's great, man. How do you manage the demands of traveling and then also the wrestling in like regular life, man? How do you do it all? How do you juggle it all, bro? Because you're traveling, like you're going to New Jersey, you're going over here, like you're going every fucking where, bro. Like, how the fuck do you do it? Tell me how you do it.
Honestly, it's a real tight schedule that heavily relies on patience, flexibility, and heavily leaning on my support system. Um, I got like my family and my best friend Tommy. Like they make it super easy for me, honestly, to be able to like manage and maintain and do all these things. Because like a lot of things, me and Tommy are doing like together, just because. Well, one, that's my best friend and we like hanging out together, but also like just the way that our careers have been going, it's just put us in the national spotlight kind of together, because we came up together, man. Like
Right.
day one stuff.
That's awesome, dude, for real. So before we start talking, I mean, we've already did talk a little bit about deathmatch, but we're really going to focus on that here in a second.
Oh, I love it.
Any tips? Do you have any tips for up and coming wrestlers who aspire to take their talent on the road?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to hear no. Don't let that discourage you from going out and keep trying to make a name for yourself elsewhere. Because honestly, in a sea full of no's, all it takes is one yes for you to put on like performance that's going to get everybody talking about you and everybody wanting to book you. So Yeah, just keep at it. Like that's all you can do.
Absolutely. That is some good advice too, because uh, I always tell everybody you're always going to suck in the beginning, right? Like anything that you do in life, you're always going to suck in the beginning, and you got to be okay with sucking,
Yeah.
and knowing that as long as you keep doing this and you keep working at it and you strive to get better, it will happen. You will get better, right? That goes for anything, like pro wrestling, life, karate, whatever it is, doing
Yeah.
dabs, smoking weed, whatever, say you will get better at it. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
I promise you. So you are kind of sick and twisted. Let's
A
be
little bit.
honest.
A
All
little
right.
bit.
All
A little
right.
bit.
So you're known for that kind of because the death match thing.
Hmm.
When and how did you fall in love with this particular style of wrestling?
Oh man. So my dad, his name is literally the most dangerous man in Michigan. That's
Right.
like that's a real thing. My dad is one of the pioneers of like that hardcore deathmatch styles. I grew up watching him battle guys like the Rude Boy and Toby Klein and Brain Damaged and uh, JC Bailey and like I always had like it always kind of like made me wince a little bit because like I was literally watching my dad like bleed and like it was kind of crazy, but like it was always like this like beauty to it to me. And then my favorite wrestler of all time is Hayabusa, and Hayabusa did like an exploding barbed wire death match, and I seen it, and I was like, if this dude who can literally do everything is willing to like bleed for this sport, there's no reason that I shouldn't be able to. And like I knew eventually it would happen, and then it, after a turn of events, it kind of just led to here. This is where we are now. This is where we live.
I like it though. It's an evolution, man.
Yeah.
I had Tommy on last week and we talked a little bit about this because I remember Tommy's been on the Rasslin Rage channel probably more than anybody else in Michigan, I think.
I love that.
I'm pretty sure of it. And he's been on for multiple different things, not just,
Hmm.
he's been on for a faction that he's been a part of. He's been on for
Hmm.
a bunch of different things. But, and, he won Wrestler of the Year last year in our
He
awards.
did. He
Uh,
did. I seen that.
he felt shafted the year before, so it was only fitting that he won, and he was shafted by somebody that we won't talk about it. But anyways, what was I going? I was getting at something, and we got into something else. But um, oh yeah, I had him on, and he was. I think it's awesome to be able. Like I'm a fan, right? And I've been watching
Yeah.
you guys for a while now, and now I haven't known you since the beginning of your career, but I have known you for a long, about 6, 7 years now,
Hmm.
and to see where you guys were then and to see where you guys are now is
Yeah.
just fucking awesome. And call me, you say whatever you want, but a part of me feels like when I watch you guys' match and I see your guys' success and I see the things on social media, these cool snippet videos that are coming out from over there at No Holds Bar that
Hmm.
guy does. Don keeps sending them to me. They're fucking amazing of you and
Thank
Tommy.
you.
Um, and I just see these things and I have that proud dad moment. And say whatever you say, but it's okay to be proud of people to have more success than you. It's okay to do that. And
Yeah.
I am proud of you guys, man. I really am. And
Thank you.
it's very awesome to see you guys. And what's even makes it cooler is that I can look at kids that are coming up in wrestling now and wrestling. Look and be like, well, hey man, this dude's from Michigan. He's out here fucking doing it. And
Yeah.
you guys are setting an example now, right? Like even though maybe that's not what you're setting out to do, you kind of are, right? You are setting an example for some of these young guys. Like, hey, look, you can do this. You can go out here and make this a living. Just you have to work hard to get there, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, listen, what has been your most memorable death match so far?
Easily me and Matt Tremont.
Okay, that's good. I like that.
That's been my most memorable for sure. Um it was a match that I've always wanted. And uh Matt is like brilliant with like he's a damn good professional wrestler, and he's like an expert death match wrestler, and like the way that just the way that his brain works is just fascinating, and I love just talking to him. And I was like, dude, I want to wrestle you one day. And then um he actually asked for that match. He asked Danny because Danny lets him pick who he wants to wrestle because he's fucking Matt Tremont.
Right, right.
So Matt Tremont told him that he wanted to wrestle me, and Danny decided that it was going to happen in Detroit, and that it was going to be the main event for ICW No Holds Barred versus Detroit.
That's pretty fucking sweet, though, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I gotta ask because I see where I can relate a little better to Tommy's frame of mind because it's to me it's relatable, right? So
Mhm.
in when you're in a death match, what's going through your mind? Because you don't you're like a silent but deadly type, right? Like you're not like rah nuts, right? You're more like I'm gonna do something and I'm gonna strike you like a snake almost, right? Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna slither, I'm gonna do these things, I'm gonna wait for you, and then wham, I'm gonna get you. So
Yeah.
what's
Every move is calculated.
yeah, I feel that in your wrestling style and death match. So what's going through your head when you're death match wrestling? I gotta ask.
I kind of the same thing that goes through my mind in like regular pro wrestling matches because like it's the same thing. The only thing is like the violence factor is turned up a little bit, so I'm a little more spatially aware because deathmatch wrestling, you have to use a lot of your environment in order to get ahead, and you got to just like know what's around. So I'm always like watching and making sure I know where everything is. I've been kind of known as and famous for using chloroform. So I always got to know where my chloroform is. I gotta make sure my stuff's in order, man. And so I'm always just I got my head on a swivel, and I'm making sure I am trying to win while also trying not to lose.
For sure, absolutely. That's some good stuff. Well, I know you feel a certain way about deathmatch wrestling. Like I can feel there's a certain kind of love for deathmatch wrestling. You can
Mhm.
feel it in your wrestling style when you're deathmatch wrestling, and you can see it. You can just see it, and I can see it now. You have a passion for it when you're talking about it. So I wish you the best of luck on that side of things, man, for sure. But
Thank you.
there's one thing that we haven't talked about tonight, and that's
What's up?
we've talked about you, but we haven't talked about what it means to be MM3, right? So you're the current
Mhm.
XICW Midwest champion, one of the most prestigious titles in the whole state.
Yeah.
What does holding this belt mean to you, especially given the Michigan roots that you have, and not only the roots you have, but the roots with that belt?
Um. Uh it's kind of hard to put into words how having the Midwest title feels. Because it's something that's been in my family literally for generations.
Absolutely.
My grandfather held the Midwest title. My dad held the Midwest title. I'm on my second Midwest title reign. Um,
The
it's
first time was rigged, by the way. But anyways,
rigged.
no, the first time that you lost it was rigged.
Oh, okay,
That's
yeah,
what I meant.
absolutely.
Yeah, it was rigged.
Yeah, I didn't even know how I lost, honestly, but it
It
happens.
didn't even happen. It wasn't on Facebook. It didn't happen.
You know what I'm saying? Ric Flair couldn't be 16 time if he didn't lose 15 times. You
All
know what
right,
I'm saying?
fair, fair,
So
fair.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Uh, but having that title, and like my main goal, in holding it is just to bring honor to it and uphold it as the literally crown jewel that it is. And like sometimes people in my intro, like Johnny Delicious, used to call me like the crown jewel of the Midwest of the Monroe Dynasty. It
Yeah.
was because I held the Midwest title, which was literally the crown jewel in Michigan wrestling, and it's something that I hold. Um, it's uh just a title that I've always carried like with just such prestige, and every time I'm defending that title, I have like a whole different vibe about me going into the match. And the stakes are just like that much higher for me.
Awesome, man. So there's we're living the age of social media where everybody knows everything, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I think that most people, and you're one of these people, that you're pretty good at keeping a lot of personal shit out of social media now. Um,
Hmm.
and is there anything that you wish fans knew about MM3 that they might not already know?
Um, uh, I don't know. Well, one thing is uh people think that like, or some people have this like misconception that I just like do this thing as like a hobby, and I tell people like when I say there are those that do this and there are those that are born to do this, like I do this all day long. I eat, sleep, and breathe pro wrestling. I like when I'm not wrestling on shows, I'm at the House of Truth teaching other people how to be a pro wrestler while also sharpening like all the tools in my tool belt.
Right.
I'm always doing this. I'm literally sitting outside of the House of Truth right now because I was working out.
Right.
Um, yeah, this is what I do, and every match that I have and that I have had, I put my all into it because I love pro wrestling and I love the art form of it, and I love the people that love the art and that come to see us and that spend their hard-earned money to come see this art that we put on.
Absolutely.
Um, so yeah, just MM3 is grateful to pro wrestling and all that is, and all that is everyone that is included.
That's awesome, man. That sounded like
Yeah.
that was like Zen shit right there, for real. That's some Schwartzy shit, right? For real. Shout out to Schwartzy, by
Shout
the
out to
way.
Schwartzy. That's
Yeah,
my
yeah, he's a good one. Uh oh, did we lose MM3? Uh oh, looks like we lost MM3. Where'd he go? Oh no, there he is.
there he
Eddie's
is.
back. Eddie's back. So I have one
Like I
more
never left.
question, but it
Yeah.
looks like Colton is in the chat and he's got a question for you. So I'm gonna go
What's
ahead
up,
and put that
Colton?
up here. And it says, how important was it for you, MM3, to have Detroit versus ICW?
Ah man, Colton, that's a really good question. It was really important to me. It was really important to Tommy too. It was like something that we both um really wanted to happen because the last time that ICW was in Michigan for Deathmatch Circus, some uh
Oh yeah, I
some
forgot
some
about.
bad things happened, and it was like some bad juju around Michigan,
Yeah,
and we felt like it had to be done right and it had to be redeemed.
yeah,
And with me and Tommy going out and traveling with ICW and putting on all those matches there everywhere else, we wanted them to come to our house and show them how we do it in the D.
right, for sure. And we did, and you guys did do that. So great question, Colton. So thank you
Yeah,
for asking that for
thank you,
sure.
Colin. Seriously.
Yeah. So finally, my last question for you tonight is, what's next for MM3? Are there any projects or matches you can tease for our audience tonight on top of that?
I could talk about some stuff. As of today, actually,
All right, good.
um, I dropped or a vignette dropped from Expect the Unexpected. I'm making my debut in New Jersey on September 23rd for Expect the Unexpected. I will also, on that same night, be facing John Wayne Murdoch in a death match in the chains for ICW No Holds Barred. Yeah. So a lot of cool stuff coming up for MM3.
Yeah, dude.
I got the Motor City Death Cup for Horror Slam coming up as well.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
Well, that's a lot of stuff, and like you said, you got a good support system, so that's good. So hey, listen, those are some incredible things you're doing. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being so open and giving us a deeper understanding of what drives you in the world of indie wrestling, and of course, this deathmatch scene.
No problem, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Folks, we've covered a lot of ground tonight, from MM3's beginning right here in the state of Michigan to how he's taken his talents nationwide, and we delved deep into his love for deathmatch wrestling. But before we wrap up this unforgettable episode, I have a few quick reminders for all of you. Make sure that you wow, I just lost my spot, man. I hate when I do that. But if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Rasslin Rage YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Smash this thumbs up if you haven't. There's plenty of interviews coming up, which I'm going to tell you right now, not next week, but the week after. I have another deathmatch guy coming on. His name's Chuck Stein. Chuck Stein's coming on. He's going to talk about traveling. He's going to be in that same tournament that you're in over there at Horror Slam. And then I hear he's traveling to another tournament. He's keeping some momentum going. So we're going to talk about that and his travels outside of the state of Michigan.
Yes, definitely.
So, that's what's coming up. But if you're new to this series or missed any of these episodes that we've had recently, be sure to catch our first 3 interviews featuring Karam, Isaiah Broner, Tommy Vendetta, and now the one and only MM3. They're all available right here on our channel, so don't miss out. And I got more coming up, and I'm working on some guys, but I got to get special permission to talk to them. So I'm waiting on an email back. For all the latest updates, make sure you follow us on social media at Rasslin Rage. That's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. X now, formerly known as Twitter. Don't forget to check out Michigan Independent Weekly at MIDUBB, MIDub, right? Thank you. Good stuff. Once again, thank you for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you on our next episode, where we continue to explore the exciting world of indie wrestling, both in and beyond the Great Lakes state of Michigan. I'm Cody Fleming, and until next time, keep the rage alive in the ring. Good night, everybody, and thank you again, MM3.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys. We will see you back here on the channel real soon. 2 weeks for the next interview. Have a good one. We are out of here.
This is Rasslin Rage. This is Rasslin Rage. This is Rasslin Rage. Cody Fleming is the man who leads